Hello lovelies, I'm Christina and welcome back to my channel. I know I've been away for such a long time and I've missed you guys, but there's been reasons for it and I'm not going into it in this video, but I'm making quite a creative video to kind of give you an update of what's going on. But I'm slowly making my way back to BookTube and I'm really excited about it. To all my new followers, hi! So nice to meet you and I'm so happy that you subscribe to my channel and want to go on this journey with me. And to all of my older followers, thank you so much for taking the time to wait for me to get back on track with this. I love you guys so much, both old and new followers, and I can't wait to share more stuff with you and make more content. And I'm planning a lot of creative content, especially around poetry and stuff, that is coming up pretty soon. But today I am doing a wrap-up video because I've been gone for about a couple of months now, I think. So April was a shitty reading month for me. I read about 2 books, so I'm not including those here. One of them I am doing a separate review on, so that is the reason why I'm not wrapping up April, but I am making a May wrap-up video for you guys. Let's get started. So the month of May I started reading a book that I think probably everyone else has read except for me, and that is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. The reason why I chose to read this now, because I work in a bookstore, I sell a lot of copies of this book, and a friend of mine has really wanted me to read this for a while, and now the movie is coming out, or it already came out. I actually won tickets to the premiere but couldn't go because of health issues, so that was really sad. Jojo Moyes was there and everything, but shit happens. But anyways, I finally thought that I just had to read it. I really wanted to read the book before I saw the movie. I'm weird about that kind of stuff. If I see a movie and I really like it, I really do want to read the book afterwards. But if I do know that the movie is coming out and I do own the book or I've lent the book, then I really want to get to the book first, just so that I can really relate the movie to the book and not the other way around. I know, I'm weird, but okay. So I read Me Before You, and I was pretty much prepared for it to be an emotional ride. I wasn't prepared for it to be such an emotional ride. And I know pretty much all of you know the story behind Me Before You is the story of Lou, who is kind of unsure about her life, and then she starts working as an assistant for Will Trainer, who's been in a motorcycle accident and has lost the will to live. And they change each other's lives, and it's just a really emotional and funny ride. And the characters are just amazing. I can't wait to see the movie. I ended up giving this a 5 out of 5 stars, but the thing that made it a 5-star for me was the way that it impacted me emotionally. I bawled my eyes out. I was crying so hard by the end of this book, and that doesn't happen that often. I usually cry quite easily when I watch movies, but I don't cry that easily when I read books for some weird reason. But this one really got to me, and it ended up being a 5-star experience for me, and I can't wait to see the movie. I'm probably gonna cry even harder. So yay, I might go and watch that alone. I got company. Say hi. Hi. No, thank you. So the second book that I read in the month of May was my very first Colleen Hoover book, and I was sent this. Thank you. Wow, okay, lots of kisses. Oh, he's such he actually gets jealous whenever I speak to the camera or talk to my friends. He gets like this because he wants all the attention all the time. But I love you anyways. But okay, the second book of May was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Yeah, he's even kissing the book now. But this is the Norwegian cover. I've heard amazing things about Colleen Hoover for a long time. I know she's a very beloved author here on BookTube, and that made me really curious. And when she got translated, I jumped on that wagon and got a reader's copy of it and really was excited to get into it. It is the story of Tate and Miles. They have an instant connection with each other, but it is not love at first sight. She's not ready for love, he doesn't want love, so they go into a strictly sexual relationship and set up some rules there. His two rules are don't ask about my past and don't expect the future. And of course, the thing is, they fall in love and it gets complicated and there's an ugly backstory to it and it just gets a lot more complicated and there's lots of drama. This was a lot more juicy of a book than what I expected. I'm actually going to include this in my episode 2 of Reading Erotica because there is a lot of erotic content in this. So yeah, it's graphic and I wasn't expecting that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I just wasn't expecting it. Because whenever I hear about Colleen Hoover, I just hear that she writes really emotional books. That being said, I enjoyed this book, I enjoyed the story and the characters, and I think that the way that it's written is really good. I like the way that it flips between characters from the different chapters, so you get to see different points of view throughout the story. But I didn't connect with the characters as much as I hoped for. That made it end up as a 4-star experience for me. Enjoyed the book, but wasn't teary-eyed and wasn't that quite invested in the love story between Tate and Miles. So then I read Illuminae by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. I've been showing this book off for quite some time in some hauls and some TBRs, but hadn't gotten around to it before now. It is a story set in 2575 with Katie and Ezra. They are high school sweethearts that get separated by a galactic war, and this is the story of what happens throughout this. This is the first in a series. I don't remember how many there's going to be, but the next one is coming out in October, I think. But the cool thing, and you've probably seen this already because people are showing it off everywhere, but it is how this book is written in conversation logs and emails and files, and it's just really a unique reading experience. And it took a little while for me to get invested in this story. I was kind of confused at first. It might be just that this is a very different format than what I'm used to, and that it took a little time for me to get used to that. But when I got into the story, I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. Wasn't as connected to it as I hoped to be, but still really enjoyed it. And the thing is, I feel that even though it was a good science fiction story, I'm not sure if it would have been such a great story if the format has been completely different. So I think it wins a lot of points for the originality of the format of this book, but the story isn't that great, if that made sense. Don't butcher me for that. I know a lot of people love this book and I really did enjoy it. I'm just saying that I think the thing that makes it get so much praise is much more the format than the uniqueness of the story. I was also sent another Colleen Hoover book. This is the second Colleen Hoover book that's been translated to Norwegian, and that is Maybe Someday. And this one was quite the same reading experience. You have the different chapters for the different characters, so you get to see different point of views. But this is not as graphic and sexual a story as Ugly Love was. It is the story of Sydney, who lives with her best friend and finds out that her boyfriend has been cheating on her with her best friend. So she runs out of the apartment and ends up being asked to move into the apartment of the hunky musician that usually plays guitar at the balcony opposite hers, that she's been eyeing for quite some time, and things get complicated. So there's love and there's other complications involved in this. I'm not going to, because I don't want to spoil you, With this book, there's also some extra content. There is a soundtrack to this book. You can find it on Spotify. You can also find it on the Maybe Someday website. Sydney and Ridge, the hot musician, they start making music together. He plays and she writes the lyrics. And throughout the book, you get to see the lyrics from songs, and then you can go into Spotify and listen to the songs as well. So that made it for quite a different experience, and I really enjoyed a lot of the music. Same here as with Ugly Love. Really enjoyed the story. Didn't get that invested in the characters. I was kind of seeing where it should have gotten really emotional, but it just didn't get to me in the same way that Me Before You did. So maybe it's just sort of a book hangover for Me Before You, that I got so emotional there that I'm struggling to connect with other characters. I don't know. But I end up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. Very enjoyable, and highly recommend if you want something a little melodramatic and romantic. Then the last book that I read in May is one of the Penguin Little Black Classics, and that is Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. This was just a really fascinating and interesting read. It is a collection of letters sent by Rilke to a young poet that asks for advice, and he just gives advice on love and sex and poetry and literature, and it was just a really cute and eye-opening and interesting read. And oh, I remember there was a passage in here that I really wanted to share with you guys, if I can find it. What is needed is this, and this alone: solitude, great inner loneliness. Going into oneself and not meeting anyone for hours, that is what one must arrive at. Loneliness of the kind one knew as a child, when the grown-ups went back and forth bound up in the things which seemed grave and weighty because they looked so busy and because one had no idea what they were up to. And when one day you realize that their preoccupations are meager, their professions barren, and no longer connected to life, why not continue to look on them like a child, as if on something alien, drawing on the depths of your own world, on the expanse of your own solitude, which itself is work and achievement and a vocation. I just thought that was really beautiful, and this has gotten me really curious about Rilke's poetry, so I'm going to check that out and probably do a separate review on that later on. So those are the books that I read in the month of May. Let me know what your favorite read of May was, and let me know what your favorite read has been while I've been gone, because I'd love to hear it and add it to my to-reads list that is forever growing, as I'm telling you all the time. But yeah, it feels really good to be back, and I can't wait to share more videos and more books with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!